Welcome back to the 2 Months podcast presented by Kentwood Ford, and we are at episode 300. I am your host, Joshua Marshall, and we have a very special guest waiting here. This nice Sunday afternoon into the evening. We have Matt Benning from the Toronto Marlies and the Toronto Maple Leafs organization. Benny, how's it going?
It's going great, can't complain. Still playing hockey and got an awesome family, so yeah, I can't complain.
Life is good, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you on that front. It's a lot of good things going on, and yeah, it was fun to kind of be in the rink last night in Calgary. It was like I've never experienced this before because like the Wranglers were playing and the Flames were playing and Golden Knights were there and then Ontario Reign were there. So it was like we were trying to did the morning skate and then I'm looking over and there's like Caleb Jones and I'm like, okay, if we're all trying, media guys are just trying to get away because if you're stepping on people's toes, as you know, that area down there is pretty congested in the best of times. So
Yeah, Calgary is I mean, I can't even imagine with an American League game going on too. I think when I was playing, they were in Stockton, and it never overlapped that way, obviously, but yeah, it can get tight down there. There's media down there, there's people shuffling food down there. You're trying to get warm for the game. It's tight in there, but definitely a unique experience.
yeah, I was like waiting to go into the Vegas room and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave. It's nice out. Hey, this is a little too crazy because the Ontario guys had the table set up for their fruit and snacks and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, it's just way too crowded. One less person in here could maybe help the cause. But yeah, so things are good there. And, obviously, we'll get into like your career and what's going on now, but cannot go on a hockey podcast and not talk about what Alexander Ovechkin did today and obviously tying Gretzky's record on the weekend and then or going into the weekend and then passing it today and the celebration and him jumping down just like he would have won the Stanley Cup and his parade and jumping into swimming pools and all that and fountains. But I don't know if you're able to see it at all, but you played against him and all that. Do you have any kind of cool moments first off of playing against him? And has he ever let you up at all, or is you holding him down pretty good?
Yeah, you know what? I want to say my first year or two, because you only play them a couple of times. They're out east and you're out west, and I've been out west for most of my career. So obviously, special to play him for the first time. I was t texting my little brother last week, and there's like an Ovechkin highlight tape on the internet on YouTube that probably has 50 million views that me and him used to just watch on repeat of him scoring, on his back, flipping his stick around his first year. And then, looking back, that was a long time ago for me. And, now I'm starting to feel like an older guy in this league. And, my brother was so young when that happened. So, to see what he's doing, and still doing it at his age is unbelievable. Um, we lots of dressing room talk about him shooting the puck, how hard he can shoot the puck. And going from my experience, there's been a few times where, I'm going out there and I'm in a position, normally as a third pair defenseman that I have to block that shot. I got no choice. And I'm trying my best to block that shot. And, that's another thing. He does such a good job in getting the puck obviously through that first guy trying to block that shot, but then obviously through the goalie as well. Um, guys can't figure him out. Their guys are right on him and he's still scoring. It's just one of those ones that you don't know how it happens, but it goes in. So super cool to see him do it and have a good as year as he's having, that amount of goals, the celebration, everything was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's like, were you surprised that he got it, Benny? Or are you like, do you think it was, or at some point where was the chatter in the room, with the teams you're on that it was like, no matter what, this guy's gonna get it. He's just that driven.
Yeah, I think when he was closing in on like 100 goals, that's only a couple seasons for this guy.
Yeah,
But his age is starting to play a factor and how healthy he can stay. And, coming into this year, it was a lot of goals, for him. Not saying it's not achievable, but at his age, it's tougher. And, for him to overcome him breaking his leg and being out 6 weeks, I think he was out for 6 weeks with that leg thing. and then still doing it is unbelievable. I thought he would do it for sure, if it was this year or next year, but for him to do it and the streak that he's on and how that team is playing this year, it's incredible.
Yeah, no, it's good. Mitch Love's a good friend of ours over there. He's assistant coach on the back end, and yeah, just it's a good team, and a lot of guys that people had question marks on, and now they've done good there, and in terms of like the Dubois and whatnot,
Yeah.
figured it out, and even I guess people say people had Jacob Chikrin as a question mark, and obviously he got paid and has had a great year too, but. Yeah, it's fun to see, and there's a lot. The race is good, and all kind of things right now. But let's get to the here and now. You just came back from your injury, and how does it feel to kind of play, getting back in the lineup, and at the most important time of the year, going into the playoffs, and being available down the stretch here for possibly a long run, either with the Marlies or the Toronto Maple Leafs, wherever the call gets going for you.
Yeah. I was just happy to be able to come back this year. And when the injury first happened, you didn't know if you're gonna have surgery or just, rehab and come back. So, um, played 2 games this weekend, kind of felt fine. Um, the injury felt strong. So happy with that. And um, we're at a point in the Marlies season now. There's, you know, we're we're in a dogfight between third and fifth place, with one other team kind of on the outside looking in, not out of the picture, but still pushing. So it's it's a dogfight right now. So it's fun to be in that mindset already of we're like already in playoff mode, and there's 5 games remaining for us.
Yeah. How do you like the team that you have right now? I know you guys got a couple college free agents that just joined you guys, but from what you've had in a whole, there's some great players there in Shaw and obviously Clifford, some great veterans in that aspect. We talked about Clifford in a text a couple weeks back and just what a warrior he is. But you got Ryan Reeves there now, and obviously Matt Murray in the back end, who's a proven winner and a guy that you can count on. And obviously the Hill the Beast, as they like to call him in Toronto,
Yeah.
Dennis Hill to be, just the team that you have, the coaching staff that you got too, and how things are with the Marlies, and what your how bullish you are with this group here.
Yeah, I think we got, some great pieces. We got a lot of, older guys that played some games in this league or in the NHL. You know, it's a tough situation. It's a new situation for me. Not really used to this of all, the draft picks coming in and now playing and college guys coming in from college. So it's a bit of a dynamic that kind of getting used to now. We got a lot of bodies and kind of got to manage the dressing room that way. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, we got good pieces, got a good mix of veterans and young guys. We lost a couple good pieces as part of the Carlo trade, and the Lawton trade, and obviously those guys will be missed on our squad with the Marlies, but the Leafs got some good pieces back in return for that to help them, push into their playoffs and hopefully make a good run. But yeah, I mean, the coaching staff has been great with me. Just being a little bit more of a veteran guy. They've been great with me. It's a good mix of, I'm still learning from them. They're still learning from me. They kind of want me to, help out with a lot of the younger guys coming in, trying to find their way. So, it's a little bit of a similar feeling that I had in San Jose to start the year. We had a young team, and then after that trade coming to the Marlies, just kind of helping the younger guys while also finding my game and trying to push to, play back in the NHL. It's a tough league to make it to. It's a tough league to stay in and then to get back to. So, that's kind of my goals, pushing forward and. I want to finish this year as good as I can, regardless of where I am. Get my game to where I'm happy with it, and hopefully it's with the Leafs at some point. But if not, I'm going to do my best here with the Marlies.
How does that mindset work? Obviously, for a pro, you still have a lot of game left at the NHL level, and you want to get there. How does obviously with the group you have, it seems like it's a good young group, and you got obviously some veterans at the Marlies, but keeping that same mindset to get there. And there is great stories, Benny, as we know, where you can kind of go up and down, but you get back there and you kind of stay there too. But and in all fairness, like I feel bad for you because these unlucky injuries came upon you, and you've been pretty healthy most of your career, and it's just some unfortunate bad luck in that aspect. But staying positive, keeping that mindset and the belief you have in yourself to get back there, because have always been an impact shutdown plus player, in terms of reading the play and breaking cycles down, and there's a lot to provide. So how does that for you, keeping that mindset and that belief to get back to the National Hockey League?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, for me, it's with the unlucky, injuries or, maybe I've been lucky up until this point, sort of thing. Um, it's obviously a lot easier to grab spots and stay, in the mix of playing in the NHL when you're healthy. So this is just a roadblock that, I'm gonna have to overcome. I think it's it can be easy at times in my situation or in other guys' situations too of you kind of fall victim and poor me and that sort of thing. But I try to use that as motivation and um, I had some great vets. Do you hear that?
That was me. I think it might be me. It's like, or is
The
that?
washing machine's going on right
Oh,
now.
no, that isn't.
Sorry, you might have to cut that out. Can you
Yeah,
hear that?
I can't. No, I can't. But
Okay,
that's
okay.
because I'm a construction worker. So, but
Okay, you got to cut that part. I was like, that is so distracting.
no worries. We'll edit it.
Um, okay. Um, So yeah, I've had, early in my career, I had some great veterans that had, kind of learned off of about great mindsets. Um, guys like Matt Hendricks, who I think his rookie year in the NHL was 28 or 29 years old, and he strung together, a lot of good years after that, taking care of his body, being a good teammate, looking after guys. Those are the things that, I'm definitely leaning on those things now and trying to do whatever I can to get another chance. And I know sometimes that's hard and you just gotta wait for your time. But I think, don't get discouraged. Um, which I think is a hard thing for me. In my career turning pro, I mean, I made the Oilers out of my first training camp. So this is kind of like a new thing for me that I have to go through. And I think wherever you are in your hockey journey, there's going to be bumps along the way. Um, and I mean we've talked about this over text, God's plan. I mean, he always has a plan for us and stay positive and um, be a good teammate and that's kind of what I try to live by. I'm not perfect every day, but put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, it's cool to kind of get the aspect of like believe the faith and believing in God, and always having that there. I was texting with Joel Hanley today about that, and obviously Matt Duchene very well, and his how he's very passionate about his faith, and same way you and I are the same on the same wavelength on that, and just keeping that mindset there. Like I know at times it's more of a private thing, but is there anything you can kind of say on like how much you've leaned on your father during this time, and obviously with the pedigree he has, and obviously the rich hockey history you guys have as a family as a whole, but is there some great benefit you can probably lean on in talking to your father about a lot of things to kind of help you get through whatever you might be feeling at times?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's lived the very similar life that I have. Yeah, I'm still trying to catch him in terms of games played, but we'll get there eventually.
Oh,
Um, So yeah, there's many aspects that I lean on him for all the time for advice on most things. Even if it's not hockey, there's a lot of life experience that he's had that I lean on him for, and I'm fortunate for that. Um, but even it was yesterday we were talking, and I was out 6 weeks with an injury and came back, and we had a gnarly back to back. We were in Syracuse, New York, Friday night and then played yesterday at home at 4 o'clock. So after the game on Friday night, 4.5 hour bus ride, we get in at 2:30, 3 in the morning, and then we're playing at 4 o'clock that same day. Um, for me to jump back into that after not playing for 6 weeks was tough. And I woke up yesterday or this morning and FaceTime my dad, which we normally do on Sundays, and I'm like, you know what, Dad? Like, I don't know if it's just my age thing. Like, I'm turning 31 soon, but it's a lot harder to get up after like those long road trips, those bus road trips. And then my mom peeked into the FaceTime and was like, Matt, you got to remember your dad retired from the NHL at 29, so he doesn't know what you're talking about. He was already retired.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, I mean, I lean on him a lot. There's lots of things to navigate in hockey, and yes, there's bigger worries in the world than hockey, but when you're in it, it's and the passion that we have for hockey and the drive that we want to stay here, it means everything to us. So he's the guy I always lean on.
yeah. And I say it to a lot of like friends and stuff like that. And when you say it, the way I kind of say it to them is like, this is their livelihood. So it'd be the same if, I'm a construction worker and then got a podcast. So yeah, you want to stay hungry and stay with it. And, you don't want to lose that opportunity. So it is tough. Like, yeah, I hear you on that part because yeah, I was in Calgary last night and I didn't get home till like 3:30 in the morning. So I drove home right after the game and
Yeah.
quick turnaround. And my mom isn't doing too well, so I went and saw her to be around her a little bit, and hopefully she gets better. But just that family time is important, as we all know.
Yeah.
And yeah, but you're right. There are anything in real life issues here and there in life, but sticking with it, and that's just what provides the food on the table for your family. And and I think you're in a great organization. I know Jamie McLennan. I don't know if you've ever come across him at times in your travels, but he always talks about how like the Toronto Marlies are they're like ran like an NHL organization too, just because the rich history that Marley's name has, but also the Leafs and how they take care of their players too. It for that experience, has it been pretty great to kind of at least see in that aspect and what they've been able to do and take care of you guys on and off the ice too.
Yeah. I mean, he's exactly right when he says that. I mean, we get treated like an NHL team, if not better. I would say almost better in some places that I've played in the NHL. We get treated better here in with the Marlies, which makes it special. But not only that, it just feels like a family. Like today we had a our captain's son's birthday party, and we had guys with kids on our team, show up, and then there was like a handful of guys without kids on the team. They just came to show their support and be around the kids, and stuff like that makes it so special. Um, the group of guys, they're awesome guys. You're around these people a lot of times more than you're around your family, and when they care about your life and your kids and your family too, it's pretty special. So in terms of all of that, it's amazing. Coaching staff's great. GM's been awesome for us. Um, the transition from going from San Jose to here was great. I mean, there's absolutely no complaints.
Yeah, yeah, it's good when you say that. It's like it's like it's not even work anymore in a way too. And we are just talking about work, but when you have aspects like that where guys are bringing their kids, and then there's guys that don't have kids and just want to be around it to enjoy the smiles and the laughs. That's what life's all about. You talked about your brother earlier there. Your brother Mike Benning. He's doing good. He's got 28 points in 48 games. He's already, I think, passed his career high from last year. I think he had 26 points last year. Have you been able to kind of connect and watch some of his games still? I know that's probably a stupid question to ask because I'm know you're very devoted into what he's doing too. But and hopefully he gets that call at some point here in his career to get on that mantle of playing in NHL, just like the rest of some of the greats in your family as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He had a game today at 4 o'clock, and me and the boys were watching as well as my wife. My kids love Uncle Mike, so we're always cheering him on. He had a good game today. Had a goal and assist on the overtime winner. So yeah, he's doing great, and I think he's in a position where I think he just there's a little patience there that needs to, I think it's gonna come, it's gonna come. He just needs to continue to work on his game, and I think that opportunity will come for him eventually. I think he's earned the right to have a call up and a look. Um, but yeah, I mean it's hard to compare him to I because we're completely different players. He got the nice hands, the nice hands gene, which I didn't, and I think my game just kind of allowed me to jump into the NHL maybe a little bit earlier, just more responsible, easy to plug me in on a third pair. Where Mike is very dynamic and smaller guy, but runs a power play well, gets up in the rush, gets points. Um, so yeah, I mean he's been playing well. He's been working hard. I mean I hope he can have a call up here soon.
Yeah. So when you said that, it reminded me of a video I saw on the weekend. The Sabres called up a guy from the Rochester Americans, and the head coach broke the news after the game. I think his last name's Olison, but I could be wrong. But when they gave him the news, everyone's going crazy. And the entire room goes, "It's about time. It's about time." So, which shows you the dedication and the drive and the support that every player has, where they know, I always say this, players know before anyone else knows which player is going to bring you impact to the lineup or somewhat.
Yeah.
And obviously great to see him get called up there with the Sabres. But it's a great sport, it's a great game. Is there kind of some intriguing matchups that you're watching either at your level or at the NHL level? And I know you got friends still along the league, and it was pretty crazy that Noah Gregor's back in San Jose, and seeing that, I don't know, have you been able to kind of chat with him or chat with some of the other guys in Cunnin and that you have had some close relationships with and seeing where they're at now?
Yeah, talk to Greggy. That was, an interesting situation for him, but obviously there's some familiar faces in that organization, and he was very well liked by, coaching staff and everybody. So, I'm sure he's fit in there. And then yeah, I mean, I talked to Luke Cunnin. He's got a kid coming soon, so he's in a unique situation, and the Blue Jackets are pushing for a playoff spot, and you know games are whittling down, so they got to get going. Um, and I mean, yeah, it's that time of the year. It's tough for everybody. We were talking it over text. You go for your All-Star break, the fans think you're enjoying it, but as a player who might be moved, or there's some players that have been told they are going to be moved before they go on their trip. That's in the back of your mind the whole time. Where am I going? Where am I moving my family? Am I going to a team that's going to contend? Am I going to even play for that team? So, that part's tough, and we talked about that a little bit. There's some exciting parts of that. Um, the Sharks strolled into Toronto to play the Leafs, I think a little bit before the All-Star break, and saw a bunch of those guys and kind of talked to the guys, and three or four of them got traded, and it's part of the business. Doesn't make it any easier, but I think they're doing all right now, and wish the best for those guys going forward.
Yeah. I gotta ask this. I'm probably catching you off guard, but it's kind of a funny thing. Did you know when you played with Granlund for the first and second period, he had black stick tape on his stick, and every third period he put white stick tape on his blade. Did you know that he did that through his whole career?
No, no, and you know what? I'm a guy, for whatever reason, for the most part of most players in the league, I know which way they shoot and which color of tape that they use. Um, but that's crazy. I didn't that never crossed my mind. It's
Ah,
something Granny would do. Like, he's so skilled that I mean, there's sometimes in practice he would use no tape and still be chucking sauce across the ice after a 45-minute practice, and the ice is crap. So, he's just special. He's built. I'm sure he could use a right-handed stick and still manage to score goals out there. And um, nice to see him doing well in Dallas, and that's a good team as well. That's gonna, make some noise in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's interesting to see. There's lots of good teams out there, and lots of good teams, pushing in. Montreal's making some noise right now. There's some teams that are on the outside looking in. So um, in terms of both leagues, we're one of those teams that are pushing in the American Hockey League right now, to move up, and it's fun to watch in the NHL. It's a fun time to be a sports, especially hockey fan right now.
Yeah. Is there on the superstition side, is there anything that you have as a superstition that you do, in pregame, midday, or before when you get to the rink, eating or just habits?
Um, Nothing really crazy. I mean, I don't know if it's like superstitions or just like routine. I don't know where that line is.
Yeah.
But I usually start tying my skates on the when the clock starts at 30, and then we go out for warm-ups around 16.
Yeah.
Um, I like to get out into the hallway early, whether it's going on for warm-ups for a second or third period. I would say those are more routine things. I wouldn't say guys, would be like, oh, that's weird or that's out of the ordinary. I'm not having to wear a certain pair of socks or underwear every game day.
That's like a
I like to keep it light, and I think that's something I kind of had to figure out too at the beginning of my career. I was so serious, and like everything was just like so serious, 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 and because I wanted to be there and I wanted to make myself an everyday NHL player. And I worked with a life mental coach and kind of turning my dial back a little bit, and that's kind of where um was my sweet spot for having you know a good game and good consistent games when I was too wound up.
It's a lot
If I'm
of you, right?
yeah, if I made a mistake, I'd be too hard on myself. Um, so there's lots of like little things that I had to go through, especially early on in my career. Going into playoffs, knowing how much making the playoffs as an Edmonton Oiler meant for the fans and for the city. I was nervous as heck. So,
Yeah.
uh, there's little things that I had to work with my performance mental coach on, and it's kind of I've had to change a couple things here and there throughout my career, but I think it's pretty dialed right now.
No, it's good. I think there's a good balance at times too to find, some great things outside of like hockey too. And I think you're pretty active in that from what I understand. It's, like either fishing or just going to, work on a vehicle or just something like that. Obviously spending family time is really cool. So yeah, it's I think it can't always be that. You hear some of the stories where the guys are just they live, eat, and breathe hockey, and it's like at some point you need a little bit of a break. So, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's different for each person. I think some guys are wound up like that, and I'm just not that guy.
no,
So I had to figure that out myself.
100%. All right. Well, what time flies by as it always does. It's really appreciate you joining us, and again appreciate you doing the 3 stars of the month for the kids just the other day, and letting us name an award after you too. Votes are going really well, so there's a lot of great kids involved, and the work they're doing on the ice, and obviously the important work that they're doing away from the rink too. And so it means a lot to kind of partner up with you in terms of that, and honoring you for everything you've done for the game of hockey on and off the ice too. So Benny, you're a beauty, one of the best, and God bless you and the rest of the whole entire Benning family. You guys are a bunch of beauts. So
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. Always got time for you. You do great things for the hockey world, and appreciate you.
yeah, thanks, buddy. Good luck the rest of the way,
Okay,
and we'll see you in those blue and white 55 here, ripping pucks and hitting bodies, blocking shots. So all
absolutely.